We're Voice Actors is a monthly podcast featuring Ben Starr and usually Erika Ishii and Abubakar Salim, but right now it's really just me and Ben interviewing our favorite people, which on this week's episode is Matt Mercer. This podcast and every other podcast on this channel is brought to you entirely by our supporters on Patreon. They are the reason that we are able to keep making these weird, very independent, very not YouTube SEO friendly shows that we make, where we get cool people together and talk about anything and everything at all. I also have to give a special shout out to the Gene Queens. They are extra special sponsors this month. They are a small comics outfit in rural New South Wales, Australia. And they did not ask me to say this, but they make comics. So if you want to check out their free issues, you can at genequeens.com. Patrons did also get this episode a little bit early and with an extra, I think, 10 minutes of content, including a joke that Ben made that was so inappropriate it had to be cut out. That's right, you're missing out on cancelable jokes. Okay, but really, whether you support the show on Patreon or not, we appreciate you being here, and we hope you enjoy the episode. Anyway, Matt is here today. This is technically his second time on the show, but not since Ben has been around.
You were on the show?
Yeah, he's before you, actually, yeah. He's an OG when it used to be called Acting 101. Now it's called Web Voice Actors because I decided that we weren't informative enough.
Yeah.
To talk about
scraping the barrel these days with you, man. My apologies.
It's fine. You know, I'm sure you have something to share. But don't take melatonin too much. That's giving people what they want. Specifically to talk about a game called Ledgerbound, which when Ben originally told me about it, I was annoyed because it's such a good idea. Sometimes you hear an idea and you're like, fuck, that's smart.
Yeah.
Damn you, whoever came up with this idea. So would you give us a refresher, Matt? What is Ledgerbound?
Ledgerbound is a tactical RPG slash kind of romance narrative game in that space that is extremely cleverly written, that follows the narrative in a fantasy setting where you play as Reyna, the primary PC, who works for an insurance adjusting company in this fantasy setting. And your primary goal at the outset is to deny the insurance claim of a heroic group of adventurers who underwent some terrible fate.
I love it so. It's the Papers, Please of hot people.
Absolutely.
Many are saying
Everyone's
this.
saying it.
Yeah,
it's tonally identical to Papers, Please.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All I know actually is the premise, though. Tell me about your characters in this world and what they get up to.
All right. My character's name is Avarice, Lord Avarice. He is a Meowin. He is a cat. I think 33rd or 34th in line for the throne, and is embarking on his journey into adventuring and being a hero as he knows he must be. And he's insufferable, and he is self-absorbed, and he is an absolute delight of a shit. Ben plays the sexy
one. I play the sexy one.
How do you keep getting away with that?
That's crazy, isn't it? Who'd have thought?
It's not fair.
But it's different strokes for different folks. I play Kazian, who is why have I forgotten the right? This is now I'm under pressure. Kazian is initially an enemy, shall we say? He is not a good person, and you capture him in battle, and so he spends the first portion of the game in chains. And it's hot, and he's always going. You want to unchain me, don't you? There's a lot of bondage stuff going on, and it's a really fun character because it starts off as one thing, and then ultimately it's about a being who isn't human learning what humanity is and either choosing to agree with it or not. And as silly as the romance options are, and there are plenty, you don't just you don't just have sex with a cat or me. It's like there are so many different options to explore, and I think you don't even have to do romance options as well. There are kind of like friendship options, and it's about these people that you meet who are very unlikely coming together and learning what it is to kind of be friends, I think. And they're so different. Like the person who I will be romancing is Hobnob. Hobnob, I think, is one of the greatest characters ever conceived.
By name, I'm intrigued.
Just if you like rats, it's great.
You know me, big into rats.
Rats.
I'm always telling you about that.
Person. He's
He's
just
just
covered in them.
he's just covered in rats.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
yeah, he loves
Yeah.
to mouth hug rats.
Yeah.
It's
oh.
and then there's like the cast is brilliant, and the writing is amazing.
Writing is
Every
so good.
It's so good, and I think that's what sold it. Like, I don't know how you got
Same.
involved, Matt, but like
I,
I was sold it because A, they said, Matt's in it, do you want to do it? And secondly, they made an entire pitch deck for me. They made me this 12-page pitch deck that was so well written and so funny about me being a part of the
So you mean,
project.
personalized?
Yeah, a personalized pitch
Wow.
deck. And the creative team said, "Would you like to be a part of it? This is why we think you'd be great for the role." And they broke it down. And even the writing in the pitch deck was so funny that I just thought, well, I've got to say yes to this. It's an amazing project, and I think a lot of people are going to really like it.
yeah. I didn't get a personalized pitch deck. They got me a sandwich and said if I
Give you
was available.
$100.
And I was like, yeah, desperately. And they went, well, we need to have a few auditions come in and we'll see what we can do. And I think the first three offers didn't quite work out. So I was available. And
Yeah.
here I am.
That tracks, yeah.
Yeah.
You just had
but
time.
pretty much.
Desperate for work.
To Ben's point, like the writing is what sold the whole project. Like I knew one of the people on the team through a friend I'd done an audio drama with, or audio comedy really. Some amazing folks who I'd worked with on this web series years ago called Headless. And so through recommendation, and I was like, sure, let me take a look at the side. Me and Ben are very lucky to, and yourself as well, work on some very big projects, but we also really enjoy finding the really fun small ones. There's so many great up and coming designers and creators and writers out there that are emerging in the space kind of from the rubble of the grand industry that had already been misguided from
I
the
prefer
great
those
publishers.
ones. I'm
Same.
like way happier to work with an indie team than something
Absolutely.
bigger.
And so like
If you're
that's
allowed to
been a
say
lot of the
that.
draw. You're allowed to say that.
Captain Final Fantasy and Captain Fortnite over here.
I think you can.
Oh, Critical Role, the tiny.
Yeah, small. You're the problem now, Matt. You're so
Yeah,
big.
that's
You're the
you're
big
basically a
cheese.
corporate shill.
You're such
Sorry,
a shell.
but
Hey, if I'm the problem, we're on a good route.
that's
Yeah.
true. I will say off of that, which you can relate this to Ledgerbound if you want or not. How do you pick projects? I'm sure that both of you are approached quite often. What does stand out to you when someone is pitching you directly and it's not, a traditional audition? Like, how are you making decisions, especially in a big sea of, especially indie games? Like, what does it come down to? Or like, what are some examples of things that you've seen, like you said, Ben, the pitch deck for this, that really sold you on a project?
I'll go. I
Go
was
ahead.
talking to someone today, and someone said to me, "Would you like to be a part of this project?" And this person I've met, and they said, "I'm creating this game. Would you like to be a part of it?" I'm sure you'll want to say no. And I responded to her saying, "Listen, my criteria are: is it good? Is it fun? And do I have the time?" And that's really what it comes down to. Is it going to be fun? Is it going to be interesting? Um, and usually independent games are where it's at, really, because there's so much more flexibility with it. You kind of also know it's not going to come out in like 5 years and get cancelled, which is quite nice at the moment. It's where the kind of and this isn't to put down AAA gaming in some ways. I think AAA gaming puts down itself, but there is a level of homogenization in AAA gaming. Um, what was the clip that went viral recently about Super Mario that was like done like a AAA thing that kind of
It's unavoidable, to be clear. Like,
Yeah,
you guys have worked on AAA games as someone who wrote on one. It's just you have a team of 400, 600 people who
yeah.
you don't know all their names. How could you? I couldn't. Someone could come up to me in an event and be like, "Hey, I worked with you on God of War Lao Fei," and I'd be like, "Amazing, so nice to meet you. What did you do?" It's very, very difficult to have any individual take shine through when their teams are just that big.
And also the writing on those games can be and is amazing, but
In spite of
there's
itself, it's hard.
yeah, but
Yeah.
and I think that Ledgerbound is a fantastic example of like the legacy. The lead on Ledgerbound wrote on Helldivers 2. Like
Cool.
that's the journey where you take what you've learned and then you move into indie because it's So I imagine so much of the more agency that you get. Also, you get more of the money if it goes well.
That's true.
And I feel like there's a lot more creative freedom. And certainly as a performer, I like saying yes to interesting projects. And I'm certainly getting asked to do loads of weird, interesting stuff that I'm saying yes to because I've not seen a game like that, but I want to be a part of that. There's a game coming out soon, which I will tell you about when it's not on here, that I just messaged the publishing team and I said, I'd love to help out in this capacity. And they went, do you want to be, do you want to put your face in the game? I went, yeah, sure, I'll do that. That's a fun thing
I had
because you can. It's dumb, but why not? You know?
Yeah.
I had a conversation with someone yesterday or today even. I don't remember what is time. Where I was like, you may as well ask. Everybody else is. If there's something that you want to be involved in and that you really like, the worst they can say is no. And then you go, cool, can't wait. Not a problem. But other people are asking, so why not?
Yeah, it for perspective too. I think hopefully speak for Ben as well. We're very lucky to be in a position where we don't have to say yes to everything, whereas there are times in our career in which we very much did. You know, God knows how many Soldier 4 I've played in 7 different Call of Duties. You know, how many non-necessarily creatively fulfilling
Sure.
gigs we've done to make rent, to pay for groceries. And we've worked hard through these years to be in a place where we can be a little bit picky and choosy, in which case it's not always about having to pick the best paycheck. We can instead pick the things that have the artistic integrity and the creative inspiration that we as artists want to pursue. And to your point, Ben, like there's a lot of great projects like that on the large AAA scale, but there's so many wonderful emerging projects on the ground floor indie scale where it's much more of a singular or a narrower creative scope that is passionate and clear, and the space for collaboration is already open at the very beginning. And that sort of, that sort of collaborative energy is infectious. Everyone's excited about the project and the quality of these projects now from people who either have been shucked off by the terrors of the industry's mass firings in recent years are now feeling freed in some ways to pursue these projects they've had in the back of their mind for the past 5, 10, 20 years and, pulling people from the rubble and doing some really, really cool artistic shit. And so when the opportunity arises and people ask, and to your point being like, I'm sure you can't do this, you don't have time. It's like, no, let's talk about it. And if it's something I feel like I can truly contribute to and something that, feels unique to anything else I've done, I'd love that. God knows how many years I'll go into projects excited to perform for a unique sort of character archetype, and then they dial me into the same kind of gruff hero voice, and I'm like, all right, I know what I'm doing. I know what you want. Let's do it again. Often it's some of these really weird, unique indie games that you get to really play and do different things.
I would say it's also more valuable to those teams what you are able to bring as like the head of that character at that point. By the time you're recording, it's so helpful to them to have somebody look at that role with the fine-tooth comb that an actor kind of has to and think about it when those teams are so much smaller and haven't had, character bios be read by 20 different people and edited down by a million people already. It's like very valuable to those teams. And I think to Ben's point, we're in a very kind of exciting place off of the terrible rubble of the state of the industry, where people who have AAA production experience, which is the ability to ship something, are now making things with small teams. Like that's, I know the amount of indie devs that I know who make things that are cool but never ship a game. That's a million people have cool ideas. Making something is the hardest part. Like getting it out is the hardest part. When you have the AAA experience, you at least know how to execute a timeline and you understand how Jira works and all the Trello, so you can at least ship the thing. And I think that is very, very exciting. Like this thing that's existed in the back of their head that they could never get into Helldivers 2, which to be fair is a bad example because that game's really funny. But now these people are making games and it's just, it's a fun thing to be watching that I think will only get better over the next couple of years.
And also,
a lot of things feel bad.
With Ledgerbound, this game wouldn't be made. This wouldn't be made in the AAA space. It just couldn't be. It's just a more sustainable business model. And also these games are being celebrated more because, and Matt said it earlier, this idea of smaller in scope, greater clarity of vision, I'm playing Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag right now. I am loving it. I'm
Great
having the
Great game.
best time with this game. I have never played it before.
So good, Ben.
It's
So
such a
good.
weird black spot in my video gaming life because it is. I love it. It scratches that itch
Sea shanties, dude. Hell
oh my
yeah.
God, come on, it's so
So
good.
sick.
And but I see. I really. I apologize if this offends people. I was thinking about what Assassin's Creed is to me. It's a game that I have put all of them. I put hundreds and hundreds of hours into. Like I put hundreds of hours into Origins and Valhalla, and like I love them, but they are to me like the Nando's of video game, where they're like always consistently good. You know what you're going to get. Sometimes great, sometimes okay, but never bad. And you know what it is. And there's a comfort and a security to playing an Assassin's Creed like there is going into a Nando's. You're stranded somewhere in the wilderness of gaming, whatever, and you go into Assassin's Creed.
Very chicken. I think that's I don't even think that's offensive, and that what you're talking about is like the epitome of thousands of people causing homogeny. They don't even really have a choice. There's so many of them.
And it's so great, but it doesn't ever waver from that particular formula. So I'm going in knowing what I'm going to get. And I got exactly what I wanted. And I feel so comfortable doing it. And I can put a podcast on when I'm just like, cleaning up things and trying to find those sea shanties I'll eventually listen to. It's amazing. But then you have, to bring it back to the game that we're talking about, Ledger Bound, that's crazily specific in what it wants to do. It isn't for everyone. It probably won't sell millions of copies. I hope it does. But for the people who do play it, it will have probably a lifetime's worth. People will take a lifetime's worth of memories from them because they will experience something that is so singular in its vision that is understandable. It's a tactical RPG, but you're going to have an experience wanting to crack the cat or jazz or hobnob or whatever. And that's going to be your story and you're going to love it. And it's just Ubisoft wouldn't give the money to make Ledger Bound, but thank God that we have these developers out there who have taken a risk, a financial risk, and have gathered a group of people who are equally passionate and taking a shot on this. Also, I want to say, not just Matt and I in the cast. The cast is absolutely stacked with amazing actors, and they have no money on this project. It needs to be said. We are not here coming in, but they spent all the money on Ben Starr and Matt Mercer and Travis Willingham. They did not. We did this project because it's fucking great. And the writing is really great. And I think there is this fallacy of like voice actors are really expensive. Like they're not. They can be, and we understand our worth and our value. But when a project is good, we make it work.
I love telling the dispatch team that I just putting it in their faces that I technically charge minimum wage. I'm like, 4 million? Oh yeah, that's crazy. Minimum wage, you sons of bitches. But I would never change it. In that it's like and that exact thing you're talking about. Actually, they're ex Ubisoft as well. A lot of them, where it's like I would never want to take any dime away from that particular team. I wouldn't do it if they continued making it. I would still be like, minimum wage is just fine, you guys. I don't need anything else for this particular thing. I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy to help out. But I do like rubbing it in their faces because now they're all, vacation in Cabo with all our BAFTAs or whatever the fuck it is they're up to.
Yeah,
sons of bitches.
There is a line there too, depending on the project and the people that publish. If being a hired talent versus being part of the marketing engine for a particular project.
To be clear, it's not my main job, so it's a whole separate thing for me where I do not need money from acting. So it's like, it's very, very, I'm not going to begrudge any full-time actor taking more money than that.
I think that is worth a mention though, Matt, is like, you get to a point now where you're going, what is it? Why are you being hired for a project? Because sometimes you do have to negotiate this when it comes to a project. And again, this is very specific to people who are existing in this industry at a certain level. But the value that you bring to a project varies depending on how they would wish to use you and how involved they want you to be. And
the scale of the project. The scale of the project,
yeah. And the scope of work as well is, sometimes you'd be like, I'm in and out, and it's not that. But it really does vary. And I think some people, certainly in the UK, have wished to kind of like codify the cost of acting for video game actors. Anyone will tell you that there is like a particular wage that you go in at and that's all you can do. And I think that doesn't tell the story of the industry. I think, and it isn't certainly shouldn't be representative of how we work in that way. We're very lucky to have agency over our own careers, and that's great now. But obviously, a lot of work, as Matt has said, has gone into the honing of that craft and working really hard to make sure that we make that moment. But it is an interesting thing to decide why should I be a part of this project and what is it will be asked of me.
Yeah. And to your question earlier, Alanah, like on top of like the creative interest in the project and uh, the how welcoming the team seems to be, it's also picking and choosing what we have time for. You know, there have been a couple of wonderful projects that came my way, small independent projects, and it was a very, very cool idea, but the scope of recording that was necessary for a vast amount of dialogue just didn't have the time on my schedule for. And I'm actually in the process of learning boundaries finally in my life a little bit, uh, at the behest of many people in my wife around me. So having to say no to more projects to allow myself time to be a human being between the
Yeah.
constant, stress of hustle, the concept, the idea of having grown up a starving actor for most of my young adult life, breaking free of the concept of if I stop saying yes, it'll all go away, and instead kind of trust that things will be taken care of and allow myself to live a little more. And so I think in the regards of us people, well, Ben Starr will do anything for money. Um, but yeah, but all of us also have to find that balance of like picking and choosing the things that we have the time for along with what's present for, and also paying it forward to the next actor. There are projects that come to me,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is awesome. I don't think I'm right for this, but I know who is.
Yeah.
And then recommending other people in this space, both like well-known performers and up and comers. I meet so many great new actors that are starting in the scene, that are coming out of school, that are just cutting their teeth in the industry and sending me their stuff. And I'll have like a little cachet of things that whenever something comes my way that I'm like, I don't have time for this, or I don't think I'm right for this, I can recommend other people for this.
Does that mean that you have a roster of actors that you think are like Matthew Mercer? That you go,
I
hmm,
do.
That
he's
that's a
like
separate
me.
folder. They and they I don't know why no one hears from them anymore. Uh,
He asked me to kill them all. That's why we're friends.
that's we're on the podcast, Ben.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, I have some that are similar range to me, and some that are very much not. It's just kind of like I've literally a folder of demos and examples that people have sent me, and if something comes through, I'm like, I think I remember these sort of clips or these certain people that'd be good for this archetype, and I send that over and kind of make those connections. So yeah, some that are like me, and some that are, there are some people who do incredible impressions of me that I'm like, that's a little spooky, and I'll keep an eye on you, but also go out there and get it, you know?
Yeah.
If it works, if
Yeah.
it works. But did you have an answer to that question, Matt? I guess you did just touch on it, but as Ben said earlier with the pitch deck, is there anything that anyone has ever done to approach you to work on their indie game or something where you were like, holy shit, this is the best pitch of all time?
Yeah,
I
many of
have to work on this.
there are a number of them actually. I know a few that haven't been announced yet, but like I will say one of my favorite things about the Game Awards last year was meeting new up and coming creators. Through some friends and connections there. We were hosting our Dispatch, kind of after party over there. And in that
Oh
space, I
yeah,
was
in that
less
little
interested.
corner.
A tiny little corner. We're just hiding over there
Yeah,
and
I
hoping
forgot about that. Yeah.
that. But like at that event and some other spaces, it was less about, the grandioseness of the Game Awards, whatever the fuck that is. And it was more about like just meeting so many new, exciting, young creators that are emerging in the space and people that have been cut free from the challenges of the AAA sphere and that are now empowered to do something on their own. And through these connections, see such cool projects that are even in the earliest stages that are just like, if you were at all interested, we could keep a conversation. I'm like, absolutely. I'm not confirming anything on your end or mine because I don't feel like, as the project evolves, I might not be the right fit, but let's keep talking, and it's just cool to have that space which didn't exist before. The space between developer and performer had been such a vast divide, a gulf for so long. In many
Hmm.
projects, we were an afterthought at the very end of production. And so to be
Hmm.
included in these conversations collaboratively early enough to at least show our interest and also, guide any of the character development at a stage from a performer standpoint and have it be welcomed is an amazing feeling, and it only
That's
serves the quality of the final project.
very interesting, and I feel like the difference in length of amount of time that you have both been acting on video games makes this extra interesting. Ben, I would imagine that that is not your perspective. I imagine that most of the games that you've worked on, you have been involved quite early, or people have approached you quite early.
Yes, but also I started technically working in this industry.
I
Um,
did just look at your credits because I
mm,
made a little thing 2 days ago that puts together like all of the credits of everybody who's on this channel.
nice,
So I had
nice,
to look at everybody's credits. And yes, you do, to be fair. But like
and
I feel
but
like
that is,
you're
but
most
that
of your
is
operation, you know what I mean?
yes, and that's it. Is like I was there in. I remember I work out of the UK, which is only really kind of figuring out what, and in the performance space, what its place is within this industry. And a lot of actors felt very much at sea and not really part of the industry.
Yeah.
And that isn't due to any malice. It's just to a series of structures that were in place that meant that actors kind of saw it as a bit of a sidebar. And there
Yeah.
wasn't really that, and there weren't really any performers out there who were willing to drive forward and be inquisitive and have professional curiosity in order to engage with the developers. And because games almost had a ceiling, and I was aware of that. I was very aware of that. And because I was working on Final Fantasy 16 as a super fan of Final Fantasy, I just like became friends with everyone on the team. And I made sure that I was speaking directly to Japan. And I meant that I was talking to the marketing teams and everything. And I even said very deliberately, I would like to be your voice in the West. I said it probably about 3 or 4 months before 16 ever came out. I went, you don't have a Western voice for Final Fantasy. You don't have a Western voice for Square Enix. You don't, because all the people who talk about it quite rightly are the creators. But there is a language barrier and there's an accessibility barrier. So I can do that for you because I know this franchise inside and out. I know how to be an ambassador for it. So I really, really pushed for it. But because I'd understood what the barriers were against
Hmm.
me, and it still took a while after the game came out for that to happen in a trust. And, I was doing absolutely everything in order to do it. But what Matt was saying, like I deliberately then went, I'm going to meet developers. So I was going to the Game Awards, I was going to Summer Game
I think you're
Fest,
very good at that. Yeah.
and I was going head first and saying, and I wasn't just meeting people, I was doing my research beforehand and saying, I love you. I think you're great. Like I was training for this, like Rocky. Like I was finding out who everyone was. I was playing their games. I could go up to I'm sitting at the Golden Joysticks in 2023, and I'm next to the makers of Cocoon. And Cocoon is, first of all, underrated masterpiece of a game. And
I loved Cocoon. So sick.
it's so sick. And I'm there and I'm sitting next to them. And I went, oh my God, you made Cocoon. I love your game. They went, you know who we are? I went, of course I do. And I end up having a lovely 20-minute chat about the intricacies of that game and how it took over my life.
God, it's so good. Have you played
Look,
Cocoon, Matt?
I've seen videos of it. I haven't played it yet, but it
It's
looks
just
amazing.
a separate aside. It's just like that game does such a good job of never explicitly telling you anything. And then suddenly you're like, it's just worlds within worlds within worlds that you just
Mhm.
like. If you had described an end game puzzle to me when I started that game, it would have been nonsense. But it's so good.
yeah,
It's so well done that you
the
just gets
onboarding is
complicated.
amazing.
Yeah, and it's oh my God, it's and then at the end you're like, damn, that was fucking crazy. But like,
Yeah.
it just escalates, and it's so good
Hell
at
yeah.
doing that particular thing. Very good game.
But I would say that my understanding of the barriers that were in place for actors is one of the reasons why I did everything that I did, because I wanted to circumvent them. So yeah, it wasn't that I suddenly went, oh, these doors are open to me. I had to kick them down, and I had
Yeah.
to kind of come in and do so much work. Like I knew who journalists were, I knew who podcasters were. And that wasn't because I was kind of cynically doing it.
No.
In some ways it was, I want to remember their names, but also I love listening to the material. I love reading the
Yeah.
material. Like this, I love playing the games. It's amazing. But that and
It's exactly how I started my journalism career. It's the exact same thing. I paid a lot of attention. I picked people. I made a list of people that I wanted to network with. I wrote their names down and I said I'd really like to meet these editors and have these conversations. And that's how my career started. It's
yeah,
definitely networking works pretty well. However, my question would be, Matt, it feels to me like that didn't used to be accessible. right? And you were kind of touching on that as this previous Game Awards, is that I feel like journalism, it was actually quite easy to do that. I don't think actors really had any avenue to have those conversations until more recently.
Not really. I mean, for one, outside of a few outliers like the Troy Bakers, the people that were like, grand scale name actors 10 plus years ago in the industry, there was a vast separation. I mean, most actors just saw it as a gig to the point of, what Ben was saying in the UK. And then those that were interested in inquiring more about that, there was this kind of unspoken feeling that you weren't wanted. And I think a lot of that
Mm.
stemmed honestly from a lot of the negotiations. Like I was on the negotiating committee for SAG-AFTRA for interactive games in 2016. And the vibe in those rooms were uh, the actors were trying to take away the livelihood of the developers. And there was this very big
Mm.
divide that had been sowed between the two sides, that we were these bottom feeders that showed up to do, 4 hours of work and demanded, hundreds of thousands of dollars that out of the pockets. But this was all being instilled from inside to best the negotiations for the publisher side of things. And I think this kind of us versus them mentality disseminated through the industry in really unfortunate and misunderstood ways for a long time. And there was this kind of this line that nobody would cross. And if you did cross it, it didn't feel very welcome unless you happened to have been invited in like some of these big names. That wasn't always the case. But I mean, Ben, thank you for the work that you've done because it's also made it that much more of a grand example of why the collaboration benefits everybody. The actors are not trying to, demand 3 years of pay, for 12 to 20 hours of recording. Even these early negotiations was just trying to find parity with an industry of, financial growth that has not matched the scale of the industry's financial success for a number of years. And this
Mm.
is, an even harder conversation now, given the state of the industry in a lot of ways. And it's more about just, wanting to find a place where we can all work together. But yeah, for many, many years, that was largely not the case. And once you got out of the booth, your job was kind of done. If you were lucky, you would talk about, an interview or something largely on the journalism side, but never any sort of a formal capacity for most of the companies, unless you were a named actor from a television show and you were tied into the narrative beat of the game's release. We were just kind of these, we went to conventions where people knew who we were, and that was kind of where it was at. And
You're
so
right. You
it's gotten
largely didn't even used to do press, really,
not
which I hadn't
really.
even thought about. I wonder if, well, you know better, but let me posit it as a theory that maybe part of what helped this change was as the generation of people who grew up playing video games went to university and studied or became professional actors. They was finally starting to hire fans where previously they were largely probably hiring people who didn't play video games just based on age. I mean, the games industry is so young that in theory it could have been that people who love video games started to get old enough to work in the industry where previously they would have been kids. Or was it something else?
There's
No.
loads of that. I think there's loads of things that have led towards it. I think
Yeah.
the ways in which this industry is
Marketing's
shifting.
changed.
Yeah, marketing has massively shifted. Like the IGNs and the GameSpots that I used to watch in 2011, 2012 have 2014 in a kind of real fucking heyday of that.
Thank you so
It's
much.
completely, you're
Appreciate that.
so welcome.
Thank you.
Um,
Means a
it
lot.
it it's completely shifted where the money
Yeah.
is, and like journalism is not what it was. It's completely changed. It's been gutted completely. Certainly marketing spends have changed. I certainly were never a part of the insane marketing spends of some of these games, like that seem to be back in what they were doing back in the day, because it isn't cost effective. So actors, I think, have been seen to be a cost effective way of communicating something, and most importantly, emotionally latching on to stuff. There is evidence now for marketing companies that, the companies that are, to give inside baseball, in video games, if a game is being marketed, if Capcom are marketing a video game, or if Square Enix or Konami or whatever are marketing a game, they will probably be hiring a company to oversee all of that, to oversee the socials, to oversee what the strategy is, to pitch ideas.
Yeah,
And the people
marketing
in,
firm.
yeah, marketing firm. And a lot of the people that work in there, there's a lot of crossover, and a lot of them are very media literate. So you see a lot of consistency in an exchanging of ideas. And obviously it's an exchanging of data. It's very data driven. And now that we've seen that actually, from our perspective, actors can speak about something in a way that doesn't tank and are relatively cost effective, there seems to be like a regurgitation of this idea, or at least a positive look to actors being put front and center as a way of emotionally latching onto something that is otherwise just very not. And I know some people don't give a fuck about actors. Totally fine. Totally fine. Some games you don't give a shit about the story. You play Rocket League, who cares? But there are some things that do allow that. I think about Expedition 33 a lot because one of the trailers that we released I was blown away by it, because in the second trailer we ever did for Expedition 33, it had Jen's name, my name, Charlie's name, Charla's name, Kirsty's name. They put our names in the trailer playing these characters.
The
I thought,
Dispatch release trailer had our names in it,
Yeah.
which is wild.
isn't that weird?
Yeah.
And the way that we're communicating now, because people want to get behind these characters and understand that there is a human element to it. Maybe with the rise of AI, I don't know, but like there's a human element that people want to latch onto, and people want to see their faves are in it. I mean, the Dispatch trailer, come on, how could you not? Because of the talent that was involved in Dispatch, is such a selling point.
I think too, to your point, like, some actors, it's a gig. But to what you were saying, Alanah, there is a generation of people that grew up loving games like we have, who have then come into the industry, and we're not just doing this as a gig. We're not like, yeah, sure, I'll market this game because you'll pay me. We're genuinely excited to be part of these projects. We are ecstatic to be part of this process, to be collaborating with the people that are making this game, not just through the production, but now to share it with the world. And I think you can tell pretty quickly when someone's talking about a game that they were paid a lot of money to talk about, and those that are genuinely excited to talk about it.
Well, there's a reason why you get up on the stage at Summer Game Fest and talk about being Vincent Valentine, because you care, because it's so well documented how much you love that video game and how much you love that character. No offense to them, but you bring up Lenny Kravitz to talk about 007 James Bond.
Yeah.
And you know that he's paid to do a job. It's still cool and it still has a great impact.
Absolutely.
And like,
his pants stayed intact. It was great.
It might actually make me like those games less. That's a really interesting one, in that when I see mega celebrity who doesn't care come on stage at a show like that and they talk about a game that I'm familiar with, it actually might make me feel more negatively about it. I understand I'm probably an outlier there, and that it's like, they want the headline of Lenny Kravitz, whatever. But I think I walk away from those going, it'll give me my first negative impression of those games.
You know what I think? I think that Matt gets up on stage, to pretend like he's not here, Clavier is. Matt gets up on stage and talks about how much he loves Final Fantasy VII. An audience member knows, a Final Fantasy fan knows that Matt's speaking directly to them.
Yes.
You can take away from your ears now. You can do it.
How did he know?
How did he know? My God. But you get someone who's so passionate about games. If Matt Mercer comes up, you know that if Matt's endorsing this game, it's going to be a good game, or at least he believes in it. And I think as a consumer and as a game literate individual, I go, well, I want to try this out because Matt's recommended this game to me because I trust his taste. But if a mega celebrity does get up on stage, I go, how much were they paid to be there? That's cool. And I think we're just a little bit more literate now. It's if Lenny Kravitz gets up on stage, you're trying to get people who are Lenny Kravitz fans to play James Bond, not me. I'm playing James Bond anyway. I don't care.
Yeah. And I will say the people that are the many millions of people that are watching the Game Awards stream are likely.
Most of them have no idea.
Most of them have no idea, or we're either going to play the game or not, and are going to be like, oh shit, Lenny Kravitz is on stage. I'm going to play that 007 game. I don't think it's going to have the impact they think it would.
Or maybe it makes them remember. Like it's literally just Lenny Kravitz. And so the game stands out for some reason.
Yeah,
it could be like that simple in terms
valid.
of marketing.
I don't think it's without value. I just don't think it has the impact that perhaps some of the teams may have hoped. I don't know.
And honestly, I think some of that stuff is literally just like an executive who really likes Lenny Kravitz. Like sometimes it's just some suit guy who's like, I fucking love that dude. Go get him on stage. The people are gonna love it.
That happens even in voice casting. I know I've had voice directors in cartoons and video games talk about how like, oh yeah, I just really wanted to meet this person from this TV show, so I cast them as thing. I was like, oh cool, how would they work with? They're like, oh, they were so sweet. We had to recast them. They were awful, but I got to hang out
Yeah.
with them, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah.
I do think it's an interesting one that like both of you are huge fans of video games. And I
Mm.
think that is exactly what you're saying, Ben, is that maybe outside there's a couple that might be exceptions that I would vast majority of the time believe a project is good because you are attached to it, and that is a very very new thing in that basically my point is people who used to voice characters in video games didn't play video games as
Mm.
much.
I
It's a
think that
whole new landscape.
there's a watershed moment. There's a watershed moment, which I think is one of the best and worst things that happened to video games, and that was the announcement of Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk,
Mm.
because it is iconic. I still quote him to this day.
Yeah.
Like in that moment, it's so it's amazing. It's powerful. It also works. Like Cyberpunk was going to be huge anyway, but Keanu Reeves being a part of it turned it into this kind of like cultural moment. And I do think people are chasing the dirty dragon with that. Like people are going, "What's our Keanu Reeves moment?" Do you remember when
Mm.
Matthew McConaughey came out and was like, "All right, all right, all right, all right, I'm in
Oh yeah.
Exodus." No one remembers now that he's
I
in
don't remember
Exodus.
that.
Yeah,
I didn't remember
yeah.
until you mentioned it right now.
Huh.
It was 20 Game Wars 2023. He comes up on stage and he's like, "I've got this new game," and it looked very generic when it came out, and then we didn't resurface again. Exodus looks fucking cool, man. I love Mass Effect. Let's go. Nowhere in the marketing do we remember that Matthew McConaughey was a part of it, and you see
Oh,
hear his
really?
voice every now and again, but it's not like the major
Mm.
beat that it was. Um, but
No recollection of that. That is interesting.
yeah,
Has that
isn't
ever
it?
sold anybody? I really don't know. Marketing, there's a lot of subtle things that happen that do work that we would all pretend they don't work on us. That's like how
Yeah,
marketing by design functions. It's a really interesting one.
you've released a video on it, Hideo Kojima, right? The genius at it, the best marketing man I think I've ever seen in the industry, and like that OD trailer
So good.
is and also like the Jordan Peele of it all, and the pageantry and everything. Like the man hypes his shit up, man. Like
Yeah.
it works. No one else really seems to nail it. But this came off the back of, I don't know if anyone saw it. Phantom Blade Zero announced that Donnie Yen is going to
Yes.
be
The lead?
a character. Like I think
Oh, okay.
the mentor character, or did the motion capture and facial capture, and as a consultant on it, I think was the thing.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Well, that's like
pe-
George R. R. Martin with Elden Ring, right? It's like, huh.
yeah,
Oh,
huh,
okay. Yeah. Cool. I
yeah,
guess.
it
Why not?
works. But part of me goes, I think it made me pique my interest a little bit. I went, that's cool. That's kind of cool. Is it worth the
It,
money?
You brought it up here.
yeah. It works when it's done right,
Yeah.
but it's not always done right. And I'm not against, celebrity involvement in projects on scale. Like I've had the pleasure of working with many incredible celebrity talent on projects that have been wonderful, and nor am I like, well, you can't hire the best person for the job if they happen to also be in this movie, or this television series. It's like whoever's best for the job is best for the job, and what works
Mm,
well for your scenario is great. Um, but knowing how to best utilize that sort of presentation as part of the marketing beat, it can so easily turn sour in the eyes of the gaming community.
Yeah.
It can very easily undermine the intent of the presentation if it lacks that authenticity. And the challenge sometimes is presenting something as authentic when the people involved don't really care and you can tell. That really, really, really makes it feel awkward.
So I
Do you
mean,
remember?
it's like a negative association.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a risk, man.
Do you remember when The Rock was going to turn up to Summer Game Fest and he was in his gym selling his tequila and he went, "Enjoy your gaming."
Yes, I forgot about that.
And it was hyped up that The Rock was going to be at Summer Game Fest. I think it was Summer Game Fest.
Yeah, or
The
Game
Game
Awards. It was one of
Awards.
them.
I think it
Yeah.
was the Game Award. It may have been
Yeah.
the Game Awards. But you're right. You're right. There is. I also think that a lot of companies are trying to synthesize authenticity in that way. They're trying to create that moment, and it is very, very hard to do. Like I get a lot of requests. Do you know, this is my, so I went on stage. I did this thing with Balatro, dressed up as a clown. Went really well. The next 3 or 4 weeks, I had people trying to reverse engineer that and say to me, "Want to
Mm,
do what you did with that?" And I'm going, "Yeah,
mm,
you see." You see, that only works because I've been working with that team for ages. It was the build up, it was the culmination of a massive gag that had been building up over an extended period of time. You can't just do it again. But I had a lot of marketing people come up to me saying, "Can you do what you did for Balatro, but for our game?"
Wouldn't work.
And I'm like, it doesn't work. I see why, but it doesn't work like that because it's inauthentic.
Yeah.
But you
Which,
want
to
that.
your AI comment earlier, that perhaps the need for authenticity is heightened because of AI. I have a thing where any of the casting that I'm currently doing for live action stuff, I actively want people with real teeth. And I don't know where it came from. I want people who have real teeth. And it's just something where I'm like, if you have obviously super, super fake veneers, that to me almost feels AI and thus doesn't feel human. And I don't want that in the stories that I'm telling. There are very good veneers. You know what I mean? It's not like everybody across the board, but it's a thing that I found myself looking out for, that I want a real human face, tooth. And I think that might become even broader where, you know, sometimes there's like people talk about iPhone face, or there's a homogeny with the way people are looking, and that now there's AI who's giving you this version of an ideal woman or an ideal man, and then people are going and getting surgery to look like that thing. That I suspect that will change casting over time, in that the less authentic things get, AI can't be authentic. A lot of the people who are obsessed with that technology are, you know, execs or C-suites who are just trying to make money. It's definitionally inauthentic. We will probably see more and more real people being cast to try to get that audience back on board.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
I love I love a new era of the character actor. I want interesting human beings
Real teeth.
who, yeah, with real teeth. And you know, to your point, like I think this era of AI, it's trained on the Hollywood beauty standards that were just, it's now just background noise. I'm so done with it. I don't want the Giga Chads. You know, I want even the hot people like Robert Pattinson to get weird like he does. I want the hot actors to get as weird as they can. You know, like I want to bring us down to us all just kind of wallowing in the awesome muck of character acting.
Yeah,
and
let's
get
just
strange.
recognize how gross humans are. Okay, can we stop like
Yes.
pretending that we're all perfect? We're gross little weird dudes. Okay,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know?
Celebrate it.
Yeah. Stop trying to act like we're all shiny and perfect and have to look good all the time. Not having it. But
Robert Pattinson has the best career, by the way.
dude,
Absolutely.
his last several films in a row, you look at Mickey 17, the drama, Into the Odyssey, three wildly different performances.
And now you've got fucking Prime Time coming out. That is probably one of the
Yeah.
best trailers I've seen in the
God,
past
it
year.
looks good.
And then then he's still in June, part 3.
It is. I actually don't know if anyone else is managing to do what he's currently doing.
And I've always been fascinated by him, and I've been fascinated with him since he kind of like took a step back, and then he was making like his weird little art house films, and then was doing like The Lighthouse.
The
with Willem
Lighthouse, yeah,
Dafoe.
yeah.
Lighthouse. Oh.
And like the voice. Have you seen what's the film he did with Tom Holland, the one that was set in the kind of the deep south and like a preacher character? Have you seen his performance in that? It's
That,
one
like
of the
higher
weird,
pitched.
it's a fucking weird voice he's doing,
Yeah.
but it's absolutely amazing. The guy loves a weird voice.
Tom Hardy does a lot of weird voices too.
Pattinson does good weird voices though. I think Hardy does like
You haven't seen Bronson. What was that biking film that he did? It was a weird voice that he just, but I appreciate it.
yeah.
There's a motorbike film with
Yes.
Hot Boy.
The with Austin Butler and
yes, Hot Boy Austin Butler.
Hot Boy.
Right. Yeah.
Where it's a weird voice.
Who also does weird voices.
I appreciate taking a swing, even if you don't follow through. You took the
More
swing.
interesting than not. I agree.
Best weird voice I've seen recently is Austin Butler's weird voice in June Part 2. Have you seen that? Where he does like an amazing Stellan Skarsgård impression. It's fucking amazing.
I haven't seen it. Well, not that I don't remember it. You said it's in part 2, then I have seen it. I just don't recall.
He plays Austin Butler plays your guy cousin of Timothy Chalamet, and his voices, he does the most amazing impression of Stellan Skarsgård. Like it feels so authentic and so weird, and I love people taking swings and doing weird voices.
Robert Pattinson, man, kills it. I
I do think this is probably a controversial take. One of the positives you can take away from big IP and franchise films is that you see if it allows opportunity for actors to take on weirder roles and make bigger swings within that without the franchise having to rest on them. So I think
True.
some of people's best performances happen to be in, bigger movies in which they take smaller roles. It's not, we're opening where the box office opening is entirely dependent on their performance in it, and they can do kind of like more interesting stuff and hone their craft. That's probably the only positive I think we can take away from
That's true.
IP and franchise.
And even so, I wonder if that's a more recent thing. Because
Yeah.
you look back
Yeah.
10, 15 years and the massive blockbusters, everyone just kind of was the same sort of archetype, the same kind of sound.
Yeah.
It was very
Yes.
homogenized for mass audiences. I think only in the past maybe 5 to 10 years are we starting to see massive blockbusters like that, hiring actors that are making these strange, interesting, unique choices.
Mm.
Yeah, I would think that 10 years ago, the producers were worried about the movie not making money. Now, the IP is pretty much guaranteed to make money. There's effectively no risk. I don't
I mean,
even
look at
know how that's happened.
think of Bane in Dark Knight Returns.
True.
That movie was massive end of the trilogy, but all anyone could talk about at the time was the crazy Bane voice. And
Okay.
It was
now
very painful
I
for
don't think it would
you.
even be that much of a blip today because
No.
more and more actors are
You're
making
right.
those choices.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it stood out. Which again, I think producers are less worried now. They want big names in casting for sure, that's still a thing.
Mm.
But I think they're less worried about the individual performances once they have the name because they're
Yeah.
like, well, we can market with your name. Who gives a shit?
Right.
Which is, also has downsides.
Also, we forgot the film before Mickey 17 for Robert Pattinson was The Batman. So yeah, I think we can agree he's on a bit of a roll.
Crazy. I was saying to Rahul maybe like a week ago, I was like, I don't think he's won anything yet.
No.
And I feel like it's almost like he's still paying off the Twilight debt. And I think he's finally done it. He finally got there. And people are like,
His
good actor. All right.
his performance in the drama, I think the drama in general, I think is an unbelievable movie. And is one of my favorite films I've seen this year. Zendaya is sensational
I
in it.
loved it. Yeah.
Alana Haim is I, I, I think she's a repulsive individual in the film, not in person. I imagine she's delightful in person.
So infuriating.
I love her performance in that film. I love everyone's performance in that film. It's so good. Please go and see the drama.
Very
Robert
good movie.
Pattinson doing just playing against whatever type you'd imagine. It's really, really a really beautifully nuanced performance. And again, I think it's just the Robert Pattinson loving session really for his performances.
I feel like Robin Pattinson has become what Adam Driver was trying to be.
Yeah.
You might be right. Yeah. Which I don't know what Adam Driver's up to because he's also very good.
He's
It's
great.
kind of
Very
disappeared
good.
recently a little. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. There are certainly just swings and trends with stuff like that anyway. But on that topic, because it's fun to talk about, who are some of your favorite actors? I don't think I've ever asked you, Ben. Some of your
Um,
favorite actors of all time, or favorite individual performances. I just watched a bit of Donnie Brasco last night, and the most cliche take of all time. But Pacino does this thing that he does it in Heat as well. That I feel like is very rare. That I really really love. Specific to live action. There's a lot of conversations in film where you would think that the two people having an emotional conversation are looking at each other and connecting. Al Pacino will regularly look around. He's like it's like he's aware of the set and is looking at, okay, my wife's in the kitchen. Oh, am I gonna get the remote? I'm looking at. He's not just constantly making eye contact. He observes the world. In Heat, people are talking to him and giving him information. He doesn't look at them once. And I feel like there's like definitely an actor impulse to be like, we must connect. And he just observes that. I love watching him do that. It makes the whole set feel real because he's absorbing other things than the conversation that's happening. It's so fucking good. And every time I'm like, oh, he's so good. But again, that's Pacino. It's like truly the coldest take of all time.
there are certainly like performances that have inspired me. Also, it's a real shame because many of my favorite actors of all time turned out to be wrong uns, which is really a bad one.
Loves
This is
Kevin
a real
Spacey.
shame.
Yeah.
I did.
Huge
I,
fan.
I before it all happened, like American
shame.
Beauty. American Beauty was one of my favorite films of all time, and it's such a shame because I love Sam
shame.
Mendes. It's like it's hard, but to get off that, like, there's an actor whose work, it's a TV show actually, which I really love, and it does get a lot of love, but I always think it doesn't get enough because of how good it is, The Leftovers.
I've always wanted to see it, never have.
And it contains two of, I mean, some people's, like Christopher Eccleston's work in that is astonishing, but really it's the work of Carrie Coon and Justin Theroux in that show is unbelievable. And Anne Dowd as well, who kind of went on to do The Handmaid's Tale and stuff. But you have these powerhouse performances, and Carrie Coon's work in that show is amazing. And I really wanted to have a career a bit like Justin Theroux at the time. I kind of wanted to be a writer as well as being a performer and do kind of make weird choices. I was looking at him and going, he can be sexy and cool, but also can do this other stuff. I wanted to have that kind of variation as a performer. But ultimately, it was Carrie Coon.
Could
and
you give
her
an
work.
example of something that stood out?
Yeah.
Something she did?
Um, she has a way, there is a level of restraint in Carrie Coon's performance, which is she is always on the edge of, she never cries, but she's always on the edge of tears. And that's a weird thing to say, but it's that idea of the complete unpredictability of her being able to explode at all points. And I want to always, if an actor makes me lean in, because I think that I'm watching essentially dynamite on screen, that's amazing. And you can watch something that is just, they're so compelling. And Carrie Coon's now got her flowers because of White Lotus and stuff like that, and Gilded Age, and she's gone on to loads of other things. And Fargo, she's amazing in Fargo. Jean Smartin's second season of Fargo, incredible as well. But like that, and then also there's an actress who I think is a comedic genius and also one of the most beautifully dramatic actors. And I think it's often comedians that I think are the best dramatic actors, is Julie Walters. She's a British actress. She was in like Dinner Ladies and is I think she might be a dame now if she's not. She plays the Weasley, Mother Weasley in Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, she's great. Yeah.
Her body of work on British TV is incredible. Her theatre work is amazing, and she's that same thing of she could explode at any moment. And I was in awe of her as a performer, and that's what excites me the most, is watching someone that I don't think I can guess what they're going to do. And because often there are so many tropes that you can see the workings out of it. And if an actor can trip you up a little bit and take you off the BPM of a particular scene, it's really, really exciting to do. And those are the ones that, like, as a kid and sometimes as an adult, really can take your breath away.
Matt, how about you?
I'm similar vein, but also I love, to bring it back to character actors. Like I love people that you forget they play so many different roles because they lose themselves in these spaces, and it's until somebody points out sometimes, like, oh wait, that was the same person. That's insane to me. Growing up, I loved Bob Hoskins. Bob Hoskins was just such an incredible performer in everything he did. Even some of the cheesy ass, what was like the Jet Li movie he did, where he had like a caged Jet Li as a fighter. That even in that movie, he was just giving it his all. But he was phenomenal. There's Peter Stormare, who he's incredible in everything he does. He's one of those actors that you're like, who are you talking about? And you see his face, you're like, oh, that guy. He's great in this. I remember his performance of Lucifer in the Constantine movie is my favorite on-screen rendition of Lucifer that's ever happened.
So good.
So good.
Fucking good.
That movie's sick. I feel like we need to acknowledge that Constantine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Deserved a lot more than it got.
That movie's dope.
And Ian McShane. His role as Al Swearingen in the original Deadwood blew my mind.
That has influenced me a lot as a writer. Is not only that show, but that role too is so good. I would say, like, in that same camp, Philip Seymour Hoffman and Gary Oldman, where
Absolutely.
I didn't watch a lot of film when I was younger, and then when I started as like sort of more into my 20s, I just played video games as a kid. That they were people whose faces I knew, but I didn't realize it was the same guy. You see Gary Oldman in Tiptoes. Have you heard of this? You guys familiar with Tiptoes? Still giving it his all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tiptoes, everybody. I don't even want to describe it. I'm worried about saying something offensive in describing this film. Just watch that. I'll leave a link in the description.
It was an era.
It was a time. And he did that movie because he wasn't able to make his house payment. It was a time when he had no money.
It's the story of Nicolas Cage's entire career.
Yeah.
But Nick Cage does some sick shit too, dude.
He's an unbelievable actor.
Good shit.
Even the bad films, he's probably one of the most watchable people I've ever seen.
Face Off.
I was
Iconic.
talking with
Face
the voice director for the Dead by Daylight games, and they had Nick Cage come in to record himself in that game. And I asked him, I was like, "What was that like?" And he said he did it because his son was a fan of the games, I think it was. But he showed up, like, was his consummate, strange,
I love it.
pleasant Nick Cage self, and let himself off the chain, and was just a joy to work with for the day, and didn't have to give him much direction because it was just be yourself. And it was the perfect story. It was the perfect, like, that's exactly how I hoped it would go. And I can now sleep sounder at night knowing that he exists in the world in that way.
A friend of mine, Brett Bachman, who's actually an EP on a hit film, Godmother. He's edited the last several, or like just many Nick Cage movies. He's like almost just kind of the guy who edits Nick Cage, like Mandy. He did Colorado Space. He's done a bunch of them. Loves him. He's like, he's fucking incredible. He's so much fun. He's so nice to everybody. Like just absolutely incredible, while also doing the weirdest thing you've ever seen and being believable every time.
I stand by both of them. Both National Treasure films are fantastic. Like, they're just great action adventure films. You can go back and watch them. We've got to steal the Declaration of Independence, people. Can I do two? Can I do two? One more recommendation of it? Like,
yes, before we have to let Matt go. Sometimes this goes for 2 hours. I will not do that to you, Matt.
We've got so there's a when people talk about the golden age of television, I think there's a show on HBO at the time that was golden age of television before it really hit off, which is called Carnival.
I love
show that went for Clancy Brown in I mean, to be honest, everyone in that show, but Clancy Brown's performance in that was the first time I ever saw him as an actor. And I thought that is the most terrifying man I've ever seen. And it's just a brilliant show. If they were ever to bring back a third series or a new series of it, it wouldn't work. But I love it. And I think it's so magical and so weird and so fucked up and so life affirming. I have the soundtrack on my phone that I listen to every now and again. But yeah, Clancy Brown in Carnival, HBO. I watched it on DVD, and I'd never seen anything like it.
Have you rewatched it recently? How does it hold up?
I think it holds up
young.
Okay. Yeah, it's Dust Bowl 1930s. It's got 1930s. Like this freak show is traveling across America, and it's like about the chosen one and prophecy and the devil versus light. It's dark, it's brilliant, it's heartbreaking. The music's
came
amazing.
out too early.
Yeah,
if it had come out
really
10 years later, it would have been massive.
You're absolutely right. Yep, slightly too soon.
Yeah. I also throw in, and I say it on everything because I'm just an evangelist for it, but The Wire. If you haven't seen The Wire,
I haven't seen it. I know I really
watch
need
The
to.
Wire. Watch The Wire. It has informed so much of writing in long form media since then. The blend of incredibly like well-trained, top of their game performers and just real people from Baltimore in their first role creates such a sense of living reality in this space. The late Lance Reddick, who I've had the absolute joy of working with and meeting on our animated series before he passed, this is the show that made me aware of him and been following his career ever since. I mean, it kicked off Idris Elba into the stratosphere with his character.
Isn't Michael B. Jordan also in it?
Michael B. Jordan as a teenager, in like one of his first major roles, and he's great in it. Everyone's amazing in it. Michael Kenneth Williams, who plays Omar Little, one of the greatest characters in television history that I named my dog after. Alanah, do yourself a favor.
I will. I'm sold. I watched part of the first episode once, but it was like there were a bunch of people talking or something. I don't remember. I know I should because
it feels like a crime drama, which is I'm not usually a big fan of, and it's why it took me a while to even start watching it. But it's Shakespeare. It's Shakespearean and multi-layered character storylines wrapped in what looks like a crime drama. Not to talk it up too much, but it's worth your time.
Well, I think lots of people have talked it up before.
Yeah. You two have both mentioned the two shows that are probably the highest on my list. Is like, I currently think the greatest TV show of all time is Breaking Bad. Sopranos, also up there. Incredible. Talking about performances. Oh my God. The next two that I'm like, I really need to watch this show would be Leftovers and The Wire. 100%.
The Leftovers, I had a spiritual experience watching it. I've never been so profoundly moved by a bit of media than watching all of The Leftovers, but specifically
3 seasons.
3 seasons,
So
and
easy.
everyone's different. It is Damon Lindelof at the peak of his everyone who it's what we all wanted Damon Lindelof to be when he was making Lost. And it is that show fully realized 3 seasons, everyone completely different, has the most ridiculous cast in it as well. Like it's so good. One more about something. Dark. Go and watch Dark. Best
I've seen the
sci-fi
first
show.
3 episodes. That
I
shit's
haven't
fucking
seen Dark
incredible.
yet, actually.
Very, very good.
Best time travel.
Very good.
Okay.
Best
Which
time travel ever.
actually, if he hadn't said that, by the episode 2, you wouldn't even know it was time travel. So
That's
yeah,
okay.
it's
I'll
very,
forget by the time I
yeah,
watch
just
it.
forget Dark, forget that. I have seen several episodes of Dark, thought it was incredible. I only stopped because I started traveling. Number 5 on my list would actually be Attack on Titan. I really feel like I need to watch Attack on Titan.
It's good. It's weird. It's good.
So I've heard, and there's every now and then I like reading scripts a lot. I love, if I see a good movie, I think the script's very good, I'll go read a script. The 3 final episodes of Breaking Bad, starting with Ozymandias, is like one of the best 3 episode chunks of the start of Ozymandias is so fucking good. It's like you see the first time that Walter White ever lies to his wife. And they're so well written, just incredible. That 3 chunk is like almost a film. I've heard that Attack on Titan also has a 3 episode chunk that is, I don't know where they are or what they're about. Just because I don't even know what the twist of Attack on Titan is, that they're just incredible. And it's like, I have to get this so then I can read the script.
You're not wrong. I know what you're talking about. You're not wrong. Yeah. And like the Japanese seiyuu are incredible. English dub isn't that bad either.
Yeah, I was going to say, you in it? You probably
I'm
are,
in
right?
it.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
in it.
How many episodes is it?
Have a day off.
I'm working on it. I think it's at 5 seasons. Let me see.
That's great for an anime. It's like, hang on, how many episodes though per season? Like,
4
give me a
seasons.
25.
4 seasons.
Give me 25
But
episodes.
we did break up one season into 2 different quarters, which is why I think I remembered it as 5.
How many episodes a season, Matt?
Yeah, 4 seasons.
How many episodes a season, please?
Somewhere in the neighborhood of like, the last one is 30 episodes.
That's great. That's great. I love that. I thought if it's not 100, then it's excellent.
Second season's
I'll watch
12.
it.
So like, yeah, it's no One Piece. I'll put it that way.
Great.
Thank you. That's
One
all I
Piece.
need.
Right. A lot of
Yes,
episodes.
but very long, very long. Yeah, that's on the list too. And I just, I'll keep an eye out for performances I recognize.
I hope people who are watching this haven't seen some of these TV shows and are going, I hadn't heard of that. I'm going to watch them. Any of the ones that we've recommended, whatever,
Very
if you
good.
want to watch a crime drama, a sci-fi, any of those are absolute bangers.
Yeah.
They're like life-changing bits of art. And the
Also-
performances are the same.
People always say this. I do read the comments on this channel and on this podcast, and they're always excellent. Leave your suggestions. What do you think is like the best series you've ever seen? Something that changed
Also
your
watch
life.
Deadwood.
Also watch Deadwood. God
Yeah,
damn.
Deadwood.
It's just I could rant about that for a long time. One of my favorite things about Deadwood
That's
is
next episode. We'll get together and we'll
yeah,
talk about Deadwood.
I fucking love the monologues in Deadwood are always accompanied by an activity that would not seem relevant to the character, but is. They're not just sitting there and speaking, which is like one of the things I hate the most in a screenplay. They're always, whether it's Al Swearingen getting head, they're always, there is something that is relevant to how they feel and how they view the world always happening physically in those monologues. And so few people don't do that. And it's so fucking good. So
It feels
good.
those could be, I think, because that feels more like a stage production than a television production. Because in stage, you're constantly moving while you're talking and monologuing. It's because you only have yourselves physically in the space, unless it's a very specific moment. You have to be living as well as performing, whereas the camera is so tight in cinema that there isn't a lot of room for that. So I love that show very much treats the city like a living theatrical production in its own right. And to your
absolutely
point,
right.
It makes it feel real and characterly accurate in those moments. Which I love.
There's a movie,
sorry.
isn't there?
They did come back and make a movie because they were supposed to do a 3rd season.
And did the movie instead?
I remember. It's been a minute. I think they did 2 seasons. They were supposed to do a 3rd, or they did 3 seasons, supposed to be a 4th, and it didn't get picked up for that, which was like a big bemoaning for how great the show was. And there's a lot of reasons why it didn't. So they came back years later, got everyone back together again, and did a movie more or less to finish the story. And it wasn't perfect by any means, but it was still delightful and a wonderful way to kind of close that chapter that not a lot of productions get that end prematurely. So yeah, definitely worth your time.
Better than nothing.
Exactly.
Anyway, Ledgerbound. When does it come out, and where can the people find it?
I think it comes out today.
I'm publishing this Friday, so
it should be out. Let's fingers
next
crossed.
Friday.
To give it a bit of hype. It should have come out the day before we're recording this, but Steam are still seeing if it's too sexy.
Hell yeah.
I don't know about you, Matt. Did you say some sexy stuff?
Oh yeah, I think we all did.
Yeah.
I got blushy in some of those sessions. I was like, okay.
The team said you don't have to say this if you don't want to. They said to me in the session, they went, if this is too much for you to say, you don't have to say it. And
you're
then
like, what did Rebecca Ford say about me?
Yeah, and I they put that in Warframe now. They put that as an achievement.
Did they really?
Yeah, and if you'll do anything for money. You're in Warframe as well, Matt.
But we're not talking about Warframe. We're talking about Ledgerbound.
Ledgerbound.
No, it's a great game. Wonderful team, incredible script, very fun, very comical. Like the writing is so quick and clever and risky. Like we talk about, this game wouldn't be made in major publishers. It's because some of the narrative is pretty risky. It takes some shots.
Hell yeah.
And it's sexy.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll leave a link in the description. I think I set this to publish next Friday, so it should be out by the time that you're all watching this. Matt, what are you up to? Where can people find you?
You can find me playing as a player in Campaign 4 Critical Role. You can go to critrole.com for details there. Also, all sorts of video games and cartoons. You can follow me on Matthew Mercer VO on Instagram, and we're not going to talk about the other platform.
Ben, how about you?
I'm just going to have a Google.
Fucking Google it. You got very Australian there for a second. Just hit me up on Google.
I like doing this. I like doing the show. Alanah, this is what this has turned into. It's just me and you interviewing our favorite actors.
I know, it's so nice.
Yeah,
we just get to talk to our friends about things that they like. Yeah. It's great.
We did Nick last month.
Yep.
I know Nick's so great.
Yeah, Jen and I did a personality test the last time.
Yep. We're just rounding up our favorite people and interviewing them.
Yeah, if
Erika and Abu are technically still part of the show, everybody, they just keep being too busy. So they've not been kicked off, just unavailable.
They're very cool.
Ben, nothing better to do. So not working notoriously.
I just really like hanging out with you guys.
Hey,
it is lovely.